Hi, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and today I'm going to be answering the question, why are they silent? And speaking of communication, I wanted to share something with you guys because I thought you would think it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, the other night I was suffering from some, anxious thoughts. I was having nightmares. I wasn't feeling too good. And when I woke up in the morning, one of these cards, the starry one with the little, black cat and the witchy hat, one of them, the deck was stacked. One of them had propped itself perfectly up. And it's personal, so I'll keep the direct message of what it meant, but it was a very clear answer from my spirit guides responding and comforting me due to this stressful time, which I thought was crazy because I talk to my spirit guides pretty regularly. One of the methods is through tarot, but that is probably one of the most next level direct I've ever had. I mean, there is no possible way it could have stacked up on its own in the middle of the night, picked itself up and propped up. Actually, if you guys are interested, one of the ways I talk to my spirit guides is a method I use through just kind of running some questions through them with using the tarot cards. And if you want to see that method I've developed, I'd be happy to share it with you and make a whole video on it. But either way, why don't we go back to this question, focus on this. Pick whatever number resonates with you most. I'm gonna take a moment, give you a second to do that. And now that you have your number, should be marked with a timestamp below in the description. You can go to that and watch your segment, but let's get started with group number one. Group number one, let's find out, why are they silent? Let's look at your tarot cards. We have King of Wands upright, Five of Wands upright. Oh, King of Wands in reverse. Okay, so that's repeated twice, duly noted. Ace of Wands in reverse. Four of Pentacles in reverse. And your last card is Wheel of Fortune upright. Okay. This is definitely going to be one of those spreads that I'm going to need to pull some more cards for, because there's still some stuff unanswered. Okay, so let's start off with an oracle card and see if that can help us. We have Ride the Wave upright. Okay. So let's start off with how your person was feeling at the time. This gets reflected here in both the Ride the Wave, King of the Wands, and a little bit over here. So it looks like they were feeling amazing at this time period. Both of these cards refer to a very free-spirited, carefree sort of attitude, like success through having fun is the best way I'd like to put it. Ride the Wave is saying just relax, chill out, just kind of go with the ups and downs. It's all working out in your favor. All you have to do is kind of let it all happen and have fun and carefree along the way. Trust and relax kind of thing. And that gets repeated here again in the King of Wands. King of Wands is somebody who, unbeknownst to his very kind of silly way of presenting himself, is actually very meticulous and makes smart decisions and is doing a lot more leadership and smart tactile type of planning than you were aware of, because they come off as just so fun and magnetic and carefree sort of kind of attitude, which right away makes me believe this is work related, but I'm definitely getting that confirmation over here. Now, over here it gets repeated again with the Wheel of Fortune that they were doing very well. They were doing incredibly well when it came to work. Luck was in their favor. Everything was going well. They were having a good time. And it seems like it led to the Four of Pentacles in reverse, which is a part of somebody opening up, kind of oversharing. Now, this is not sharing as in they had something to hide from you. They were just being more open as a person and kind of revealing themselves to you more because they were feeling so good in their life and everything was going great. But here's the thing. I see some sort of, and this is the thing I can't tell. I can't tell if this is purely a fight that happened, some sort of conflict, or some sort of change. I see it repeated throughout all of these cards over here, But this implies change and this implies conflict. It could be both. And when I say change, it's the kind of shift. It's like you're talking, and like I said, when we talk about opening up, someone says something or shares a certain perspective they have, and then all of a sudden there's like a shift in the atmosphere, and you're like, wait, you think this way? Or wait, what? And some sort of that shift, that change, that could have potentially turned into a fight is when the severance happened. And actually one of the main reasons, unfortunately, there was something divulged in that conversation that unfortunately led to these middle cards, which is the King of Wands in reverse and the Ace of Wands in reverse. The King of Wands in reverse is like the King of Wands upright, but like take away all that responsibility and good intention. Then you have somebody who is a little more flippant, they're more self-serving to what personally makes them happy. It's like you took, not you, but the conversation took away their drive and all this like good fiery intention and flipped it around and made them just kind of not care anymore. Sometimes you can view this as a sort of flippant attitude as well. And it unfortunately was, well, they don't want to feel this way, unfortunately. This didn't make them feel great, and it seems like it really led to a lack of passion for the relationship, unfortunately. But I just need a few more cards, because to me something is not being said here. There's something missing, and I just need to know what the deal is. So I'm gonna just shuffle some tarot cards I have off here to the side and see if we can get some answers. Okay, what do we got here? We have Three of Pentacles in reverse, Two of Cups upright. Oh, and Judgment in reverse. Yeah, just kind of like what we said. A flippant, doesn't care anymore sort of attitude like we talked about in the King of Wands. This also can refer to this important discussion you guys had, being one that was almost sort of a test for the relationship, a kind of like an unexpected, like, can you guys handle this conversation? Can you handle this idea? Now, the main thing I'm seeing that was picking up here is it almost feels like they were doing so well at work that it caused them to not be home as often and kind of forced them to not be around you as much as you would have liked. Because we have over here Two of Cups, that things were going great for both of you as a relationship. For them, everything was sailing. But unfortunately, after being tested in this way as a couple, as well as this particular type of attitude being brought into the once harmonious relationship, it looked like things started to go astray. The Three of Pentacles not only directly refers to kind of everything being sort of unfortunately out of sync in the relationship. This is important to know, with the Two of Cups being upright, it does not mean that you were incompatible. Sometimes it's not the funnest news to hear, but sometimes it's just like it wasn't meant to be. That's not the case with you guys. You guys do have a lot of cohesion there that is naturally there, and that's good. But unfortunately, when people feel that when they're in the type of relationship where things are built so much on cohesion, like that's one of the main flows and power ebbs, when things feel off, it just really hurts both party members directly, because often this is a relationship where you guys benefit from being together. I'm surprised I didn't get the World card in here, to be honest with you, but I guess the Wheel of Fortune is close enough. Anyways, so the Three of Pentacles also points to the concept that you two are isolating yourself too much as a couple and need to kind of also experience your love and your relationship outside with other people. But what makes me feel what happened here is there was some sort of disagreement, misunderstanding, a fight or something about how even though they were doing really well at work, it was preventing them from being with you as much. And understandably so, you were like, I miss you. I want to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. And I'm glad we're sharing all our thoughts and feelings here. Maybe they wanted to share, go out, be more social, but you wanted a little more time to be alone with them because they were so busy as is. And it looks like that was the thing that kind of unfortunately made them just like stop being quiet. It seems like there was a disagreement of how they wanted the relationship to go when it came to being social and successful, and where your intentions lied. But the thing is, like I said, I don't see a lack of incompatibility. I just see people on two different sort of mental trajectories. Like I said, this was a testing of your relationship, but that is the main reason why they are currently silent. They don't like the way they feel right now. When this type of discussion happened, it was a little too serious for them, and it made them feel off. And when they don't feel, aligned and feel like the best version of themselves, unfortunately, it kind of just kills their general passion for life, the relationship themselves. They're kind of in a mood, so to speak. And they feel a bit vulnerable considering they were a little bit open to you and stuff like that. So I'm just seeing a general sense of they think that you think this way and you think they think this way. And there's this sort of like, I don't know if we can hear each other out, so to speak. But I don't see a finality. That's not what this reading's about. But if it gives you any comfort, I don't see any finality about the relationship, especially with the Wheel of Fortune. We got ups, we got downs. It can always go back up, but that is the main cause to their silence at this moment. So I hope that gave you some sort of closure or some sort of reassurance or at ease right now while you're waiting it out. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful day. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this channel or this video. It helps out like you would not believe. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and I hope you feel better soon. Let's get ready though for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's find out why are they silent. And let's start off by looking at your tarot cards. We have 8 of Cups in reverse, Knight of Pentacles in reverse, 9 of Cups in reverse, 7 of Cups upright. Oh wow, Knight of Pentacles again, upright. And your last card is King of Swords. Interesting. That's so interesting, especially with what's going on here. Let me just pull an oracle card just to get a little more clarification. Okay, so sometimes, slow and steady in reverse, sometimes Spirit is incredibly adamant with their message. Actually, maybe if I move this, you can see this better. Yeah, there we go. Spirit tends to be, and tarot tends to be, sometimes, I consider this a positive thing, especially when I see repeating cards, but it can often be so repetitive, it can be frustrating if you want to get anything else out of it. But just keep in mind, sometimes when you keep getting the same messages over and over again, sometimes in this case, this message is repeated somewhere around the line of like 3 or 4 times in this particular spread. They're just being really upfront with you. They're just being like, you wanted to know, this is what it is. I'm letting you know, you need to know this. This is the main factor going on here. So it looks like, to simplify it, I can see here and here, there was always a sort of you making more of the effort in the relationship than they were giving to you. I do have some comfort though, but let's start off with a little bit of why they are silent. It is 2 factors. Over here we get a pretty big hint that again gets put out here especially. Slow and Steady as an oracle card is talking about that you might be trying to rush things or force things to happen sooner than they are able to, and you're kind of being warned that if you keep pushing it sooner than it's naturally able to happen, you're going to kind of unfortunately ruin it or prevent it from happening. Think of it as like holding on too tightly to something and accidentally crushing it. But like I said, it does turn out positive, so I have some good news to share with you, so keep that in mind. But anyways, going forward, that concept gets repeated here in both of these Knights. They might be in different directions, but both of them are trying to reach out. Consider both of these cards a representation of this person who's silent to you, and you're reaching out and you're like, hey, I'm into you, or hey, you want to hang out, hey, what's up, and you're offering this sort of token to let them know. But it looks like they are just continuously pulling away. They, first of all, are pulling a little bit away because they don't like this feeling of you kind of consistently trying to let it be known, and putting it out there. But keep in mind, we did not get a Seven of Pentacles situation. A Seven of Pentacles is you let them know what's up. You said, hey, I'm interested in you, or hey, this is what's going on. And then you need to just give them space because they need to mull over that information. Often this is a time period of silence or getting a break from each other to think about it. This is not the case. This feels more like it's just them more than it's negative that you did anything wrong. There isn't a negativity. They might a little bit blame it like, oh, there you were reaching out to me too much. But notice you got the Knight of Pentacles twice. It could not be clearer in the message. And slow and steady. These sort of gestures of affection are non-aggressive. They are not overbearing. They are not anything. Sometimes we can accidentally become too overeager when letting someone else know. That's not the case. These are very patient forms of I love you. These are very patient forms of affection. They're consistent. There's a lot of, how do I put this? Sometimes when we are trying to connect with someone, that you might be connecting with someone who has the inability to commit or is afraid of relationships or something like that. And this often comes up when you are somebody who is very patient and is like, I'm going to give you all the time you want. I'm going to keep letting you know I like you. But if you need to resolve these issues, I'm here when you resolve them. So like I said, that's a little bit of why they, pushed away a little bit of their silence. But keep in mind, you didn't come across in a over intense way or overly aggressive. It's more on their own personal issues, if that makes sense. But we get a deeper understanding of their silence again based on their own personal issues they're dealing with. So over here, I can see with the Seven of Cups, they always had tons of options when it came to what they could do in the relationship, how it could go about. There was a lot of freedom going on that you were giving them and making it clear. But it looks like not only, unfortunately, with its being upright, this is a very overwhelming card. This is too many options. This could potentially point to them feeling you might have not been the only one in the relationship. I don't see enough cards to point to that, so I'm not going to say that for definite, but that is a potential possibility. Either way, there was a lot of freedom going on. They had all this, you think that would be a positive thing, but with the Nine of Cups in reverse, it just seems like it just wasn't enough. It's like everything's going great for them. Keep in mind, this is not a Four of Cups situation. Four of Cups is more of like a bored sort of attitude. Nine of Cups is like everything's going your way and you're kind of being a brat about being like, I don't know. Now, Four of Cups is like you're secretly going through a really hard time and you're depressant. Nine of Cups is you're being a little bit of a brat, so to speak, and being ungrateful because everything's going your way and you just kind of keep making up reasons of why it can't find happiness in it. And I think a little bit of this attitude is mixed with some unresolved past issues, to be honest with you, and mixed with, I think it was a little overwhelming for them to have so much freedom. Sometimes people, I know this seems like counterintuitive and weird, but again, people are mysterious and weird. Sometimes people do better with less options. Sometimes people gravitate to personalities that are a little more domineering, a little more controlling. And it looks like you were easy peasy, relaxing, patient, loving. Anyone else would be totally down with the energy you had to throw your way. But like I said, too many options were overwhelming for them. Even to feel such consistent, patient love was overwhelming for them. Again, their issues, not yours. But I see over here with the Eight of Cups, just a direct, depiction of them being the one to have gone silent on you. But it also almost feels like they're like, I can't be bothered with this. I'm just, whatever. I'm just going. This is too difficult to deal with. So again, very careless, unfortunately. Again, doesn't point to anything that you directly did that was wrong. This just unfortunately feels like a very lazy sort of attitude to a relationship. Again, not lazy because they dislike you or you did anything that could upset them. That's how they handle problems in general. It's just, I don't want to deal with this, walk away kind of, I don't want to deal with that responsibility kind of attitude. Over here with the King of Swords, it looks like there was the potential, I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but I'm getting a really mean sort of personality. Pretty brutal with their kind of unkind comments and stuff like that. Yeah, Yeah, it's not really that great, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I'm getting a very much it's them, not you type of situation. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I have to say. Yeah, I guess I can just sum it up, not to be repetitive, but it's as simplistic as you were just a really great, nice, open person, and they were the opposite. And they couldn't handle the nice things you had to offer. I have a feeling you accidentally fell in love with somebody or became interested in somebody who, honestly, if you got to know them better, I don't know if this would necessarily be the personality you would necessarily mesh with in the long term. But uh, when you were caring to them, you forced them to kind of face a part of themselves they repress and don't want to deal with, and that was overwhelming for them. And so they kind of were like, it's easier just to not deal with this. So I hope you don't take it too personally, because I wouldn't want you to change. You're pretty wonderful and sweet, and patience truly is a virtue, and you should definitely take that patience and give it to someone more welcoming and honestly more deserving of it. So, yeah. I hope this was comforting for you in closure aspect. It's always hard to tell people these type of messages, but at least I got to tell you how great you were. I always love telling people that, especially when the cards are so adamant about having me see that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe, but either way, have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number three. Let's find out, why are they silent? Let's look at your tarot cards. We have Four of Swords in reverse, the Hermit in reverse, Temperance in reverse, Death card in reverse, Knight of Wands upright, and your last card is Three of Swords upright. I can already tell this is a roller coaster. Let me just pull one oracle card just to get a little clarity. Spark. Okay, well, I already know the ending to this, but let me let you in on what's going on here before we jump to the ending. So I can tell you right then and there that this person that you are, that's currently gone silent on you, is I want to say this in the nicest way possible. How do I say this? They are not consistent emotionally, or with the way they respond to things or handle things. It's a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows. And I don't want to say this for definite, because this is a general reading and this more feels like a hint rather than a definitive. But with the Death card being here and the Three of Swords, there is a potential that they are casually dating other people. There is potentially an ex situation involved. And one of the reasons they might be silent to you right now is because, unfortunately, you are a bit of the rebound for them, and unfortunately, we're kind of caught up in their healing, so to speak. But I just can't say that for definite. These are, sometimes there's cards that are like, yep, without doubt, that's the case. And sometimes there's cards that are more kind of subtly implying that's a possibility, but it's just too subtle for me to say that's definitive. And this is a general reading, so this might only be the case for some of you guys. So let's stick to the general concept going on here. So I can see over here in the Temperance card, first of all, I just want to say right off the bat, with this being ruled by Jupiter, you and the Spark card that you are capable of a lot of optimism, positivity. There is a heightened level of happiness you can easily tap into, and there's just kind of something special and filled with light, so to speak, within your soul naturally that you in this lifetime are able to really connect with. And it's one of the main reasons I can say they were definitely drawn to you. And I think it's one of the reasons why you were subconsciously drawn to them, because like I said, when they feel great, oh my gosh, who doesn't want to be around that? But when they feel down, oh my gosh, watch out. And I think the rough part is, of course, people have ups and downs. That is not a bad thing. But when it goes up and down this quickly and sometimes irrationally, it's overwhelming to experience. And it's not very fun for the other person at times. But the main thing I see here is this desire to almost like just cover up the situation. Like, I don't want to deal with this, let's move on. I can tell over here in the Three of Swords, this is a lot of like intense, almost cruel, vengeful, sort of mean-spirited interactions or fights. It can get kind of brutal at times. And unfortunately, that gets brought in through the Knight of Wands. This is somebody who is very intense. It's adding fire on fire, so to speak, even though we have swords, not wands. But it's pretty intense. Think of it this way. If the swords are air and you add oxygen to fire, well, let's just say it gets a lot more intense. So this is the fuel, so to speak, to the fire. And this intense energy gets brought into the Death card. So the Death card in reverse here is wanting to kind of cover up and suppress these issues that definitely need to be worked out in order to be more cohesive and be on the same page, and kind of help this this other person who's been silent to you kind of become a little more consistent, because I'm sure it's not fun for them to be inconsistent. It's not fun to be up and down emotionally in that way. So that's why they're so desperate to cover it up. I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on. I don't care. Almost kind of intensely warning you, like, don't go there, back off, stop it. So you might have your head bitten off as you're trying to solve certain situations or figure out what's going on, and they don't want to hear it, they don't want to have it. Just, like I said, clear cut off. That's how they believe they can achieve some sort of harmony, some sort of, like we said, consistency to their emotions. Now, like I said, you are capable of a wonderful, optimistic, light, white light sort of spirit coming from you. It's really beautiful. And the way you were kind of handling the situation is you're like, okay, I'm exhausted. I don't know what's going on. Give me a second to kind of dive deep into myself, which shows me you're very selfless and very sweet, because instead of thinking it's all them, screw them, you're like, how can I work on myself in order to continue to reflect the best person I am, to bring that to the relationship and therefore kind of have it positively affect them. But also I have a feeling that when they were taking you up and down and up and down, you kind of unfortunately lost a little bit of contact with yourself, and you kind of had to pull back in and go, what am I into? What do I believe? Adjust, so to speak. And after you figured that out and you're like, hey, what's up? Let's talk. This is definitely a time for many couples. This is like a time period of more openness because they've been able to better understand themselves. This can directly refer to you guys having been maybe silent in the past to each other, but like kind of a sort of breakup, get back together, or separation, get back together sort of thing over and over again a couple times in order to fix the situation, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes space does definitely work for people to sort out their own personal problems. But unfortunately, as you're kind of coming out of the woodwork being like, hey, guess what? I figured some stuff out. I feel a little more centered. They weren't. It looks like in the Four of Swords, like I said, it's very painful for them to go through this up and down emotional process, and they kind of exhausted themselves, and this would definitely relate to more brash intentions of, spurting out at you and freaking out. They just weren't ready. That's the main reason why they're silent. I'm actually in a good way not getting any sort of jealousy they feel towards you. They're not mad that you are the way you are. They're definitely drawn to you because they would like that, and you're drawn to their very heightened levels of optimism, and definitely have the compassion to feel for them when they're down, because you've seen both the good and I don't want to say bad, but the not feeling so great part of themselves. And that kind of, you love a little bit of both of them. But when you came to them, or when you are trying to come to them, they just are so spent. They're not thinking clearly. They need some more space. But this isn't hinting at they need some more space so potentially the relationship can get back together, or they need some more space because they're mulling over what your intentions are. This is like, I don't know when they're going to feel better. They're just totally spent because of their own, the way they are as a person and what they're overcoming. And let's be real, they're not overcoming anything. Their solution to things is to just cover it up, and they're not handling situations, and it's unfortunately just making it worse and worse and worse. Now, while that is the reason they're being silent, Spirit, again, like I always say, Spirit and Tarot like to do whatever the hell they want in readings, and they will often insert their own personal, like, endings or beliefs. Sometimes I'm just telling you why they're silent. I'm being told directly here in Spark that this is something you might want to let go. I'm not saying that you can't return to them maybe later on or whatever, but your main focus should not be even concerned with why are they silent and maybe potentially getting back with them, because with the Spark, again, it's referring directly to how amazing your inner optimism is, and that there's just a spark about you, and that right now is the time to go focus that energy towards something positive, mostly creative. This often card refers to, but it can be anything, and kind of to go take that happiness and excitement and build something, work on something. Maybe you get really into going to the gym, or you're working on finding a job, or you're building a new skill, whatever it is. Take that excitement and passion and do something with it, because not only do you have it in you right now, but you do have, I'm being told right now directly that Spirit is around you and wants to really kind of like help you co-build something, and they're kind of saying, hey, nothing negative towards this other person, nothing bad about them, but just maybe you're not focusing your energy where you really should be focusing it. Right now, you should kind of go enjoy yourself and your own personal light. But yeah, that's the main reason they're silent right now, that they are just dealing with their own thing, and they're not ready to hear anything from anyone. Even if you did potentially get in contact with them, they're not thinking straight. They're not their true self, because they're just so exhausted. So let's send our condolences and our compassion their way. Hope they feel better, but definitely get excited for you, because there's something just special about you, and you're just kind of in the flow, especially right now with that. And so definitely take some time to get that much more connected with yourself. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading and you have a lovely day. If you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to give it a like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number four. Let's find out, why are they silent? Let's look at the tarot cards. We have Seven of Wands in reverse, King of Cups in reverse, Knight of Pentacles upright, the Star in reverse, the Four of Wands in reverse, and your last card is Ten of Wands upright. Oh. Let me just pull an oracle card real quick. Magic Stream Oracle card in reverse. Okay. So, I don't know if you've heard me say this in other videos or other sections and stuff, but sometimes Spirit and Tarot just do whatever the heck they want. So they just do not want to tell me why they're being silent exactly. I'm getting like a vague reason, but weirdly enough, the main concentration of the spread that is, no joke, repeated in nearly every single card, both individually and within their interactions, and including over here with this oracle card, is they just want to focus less on the fact of why they are being silent and more want to give a resolution to the relationship and just keep saying over and over and over again that there is hope for this relationship, that the relationship will get better. Like, it's just consistently repeated. So we'll get into all of that. Like I said, I will do the best I can to actually answer the question of why they are silent, but I want to talk about all the unexpected hope that's popping in here. So the Magic Stream Oracle card in reverse basically says there is this potential and hope for victory and getting the thing that you want. But you have to just jump in there and make it happen. I mean, I'm sure you're right now. Part of me wonders, actually, I take that back. Part of me wonders, because there is so many cards referring to what I'm about to dive deeper into in the spread. I'll get that in there. part of me wonders if you're being told so adamantly by Spirit that you're not trying hard enough to actually reach out, that you might not be reaching out at all. That's just some food for thought, but we'll get into this more later on. So the magic stream in reverse is talking about you need to jump in there and just make it happen. You need to actively work for it. However, it also lets you know that when you jump in there and try to make it happen, because there is the potential and there is a strong hope for it all working out, you have to understand that you can't force things. You can't force trying to overthink it. You can't force creativity. You can't force love or relationships. You kind of need to stop thinking and just kind of follow the stream and let it push you. And as things come, you just deal with them. You're not thinking about it. You need to turn off your brain and turn on your instincts, so to speak. Very interesting that they give that sort of method to the madness, because everything else repeats the idea of you got to try, you got to work for it, you got to want it. The Seven of Wands in reverse over here implies that one of you are not trying hard enough, that the relationship has the potential to grow, but both of you need to actively put in an effort to make it happen. Both keep that in mind. That also talks about over here that one person is pulling all the weight in the relationship, the other person isn't trying hard enough. Again, there is the hope and the desire to want to have a better tomorrow, but when we see this card turning away from the Four of Wands and heading more away from the other options available, there's almost this belief system that they're worried. I feel weird saying that they're supposedly blaming you for not putting in enough work, because I don't really feel like that's it, but we'll just kind of go with this reading, so to speak. But there's this feeling of, I'm doing all the work, I'll find it somewhere else. But it doesn't feel like the definitive answer, especially when we're talking about all this potential. Four of Wands, same concept. Both of you need to put your differences aside, whatever roles you think the other one needs to fulfill, and think of it as like the major card of equality. It's about two people working hard to make the relationship work and thinking of nothing else but both bringing the same amount to the table. This is also an extremely positive card, saying like everything's going well, things are going to turn out great, it's going better than you expected, but don't get lackadaisical when it comes to the effort in the relationship. So again, so many cards of hope. Hope gets repeated again here in the Star card in reverse, saying that things might not start off great in the beginning, might seem a little rough right now, but that doesn't mean that it isn't still headed for a brighter tomorrow. It's weird. Sometimes relationships don't always start off amazing and magical and perfect. Sometimes they have their own little route and plan and storybook ending, despite the unexpected beginnings. But here we get a bit of a clue, a little more on the whole. Like I said, every card just is vehemently saying, you know, make it work, both work hard, try hard. So part of me wonders if a bit of the silence is based on you not contacting them. They're not contacting you because you're not contacting them. And a bit of a hopeful message of like, when you two get back together, when you two decide to talk, if they allow you to talk to them, there needs to be an open, clear conversation of like, we both want this, let's try hard. But then this is where it gets a little kind of confusing, and you'll see what I'm saying as I'm expressing it. So the King of Cups in reverse is somebody who is emotionally unable to express their emotions in the best way. This is a personality that would be kind of almost codependent, possessive. That kind of idea gets repeated again in the Ten of Wands. But unfortunately, in addition to possessiveness, which is not necessarily the most positive trait, it's wonderful to have someone care about you and want you, but to kind of want to have you for their own, to clutch you, as well as can be sort of, how do I say this? They're wanting to possess you for instant self-gratification. There isn't really any hint or inkling of love behind these sort of meanings. It doesn't mean they don't feel this way for you, but this is a heavy energy I'm picking up. And in contrast to this, we have the Knight of Pentacles approaching the King of Cups. Very patient, kind of being like, maybe it's going to take a little while for this sort of issue to be ironed out, but it's still nonetheless offering, saying like, hey, I'm going to work with you. We'll take our time. We'll figure this out together. But this is about taking this sort of emotion and this sort of stance in the relationship or perspective towards love, and understanding that they need to reevaluate these sort of thoughts and think of the greater good for the relationship and the intentions. Stop worrying about, like, as in them, they need to stop worrying about what serves them when, and understand what benefits everybody, because when everybody is doing well in the relationship, when everybody is on the same page, we all feel good, and then we can then in turn be positively affected by the other, and so on and so forth. It's like a beautiful cycle of, I feel good, now I feel good. Because you feel good, now I feel good. And it just goes back and forth. And this is trying to help someone in this mental space understand that, but knowing that it's going to take a little bit of effort. In fact, it's going to take a lot of bit of effort. It keeps getting repeated, but yet it keeps reiterating over and over again. Work hard, there's hope. Work hard, there's hope. It seems bad now, it's going to get better. I mean, it's extremely repetitive. Like I said, Spirit and Tarot will do what they want to do when they want to do it. They will make it absolutely clear the messages they want to deliver when they're this adamant. It's that important. So I'm feeling that most of the silence is due to you not contacting them, mixed with a bit of they're just unfortunately not understanding that greater good. There is the potential for them to understand what they need to do, but because they're a little bit more self-serving, I don't see a laziness or lack of them totally not wanting to work on the relationship. But you see what I'm saying? They're not like in the right headspace to understand that for them to contact you back, that would take effort, and you want to do that effort. So there's a little bit of lack of effort because they're kind of more consumed with what's serving them right now. Yeah, that's the main thing I'm picking up. I was just seeing if there's anything else. Yeah, wow. Really interesting. I had not expected, I thought I was just going to tell you why they're not talking to you, but you're being told you should definitely make it work. Who cares about why they're not talking to you? There's a lot of hope going on here. So I am definitely wishing that, oh, that's so interesting. Sorry, I love the coincidence, or actually, there is no coincidence, synchronicity, serendipitousness of it. Four, as I consider a personally really positive thing in a relationship, fours have to do with, which is getting repeated throughout here, by the way. Fours have to do with like a sense of security. Often things like when you're getting a relationship spread, of course you want your twos, things that are talking about harmony and working together and epiphany-oriented numbers and stuff like that. But I consider fours more of a realistic modern-day version of love, because love, to have longevity, needs to feel like you're both safe in the relationship. There's a sense of security. There's a sense of like, we both can trust this is going to work out type of thing. Everyone has, it also has to do with feeling like you have everything you need sort of thing. And often having everything you need in a relationship involves things like love, like spirituality, like sharing responsibilities and that type of thing. So I don't think it's a coincidence that all this hope is linked to such a wonderful number talking about similar concepts. So really cool, really awesome. I hope you enjoyed this reading as clearly as much as I did. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. But either way, have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.